not appropriate. With respect to the budget, we are $500,000 in the hole. You borrowed $300,000, and you can point wherever you'd like to point to it. The fact remains, it was under your leadership last year and your leadership the year before. You did nothing to replace it. And last year, I stood at that microphone and I read to you DCA Regulation 5:30-3.6 and reminded you that your use of an emergency appropriation, which was clearly done, prior to a primary election, it was a political process, it was improper, and you did it because you were committed to deceiving the residents here in Greenwich, because you did not want to pass an honest budget. So, and we're going to call a spade a spade.
We will. I'll let you finish, but we'll call a spade a spade.
I know. You passed a budget, and you adopted a budget to keep it under the cap because people were running for office. And then 60 days later, you sneak in $100,000 in violation of this regulation, and I read it to you beforehand, and it was not an emergency appropriation because, as you say, it was ongoing litigation. And I asked the question multiple times, and I never got an answer, that how could you not include costs for litigation when you cut hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you had 5 months worth of payments that very year when you adopted a budget, and you didn't include it. You excluded it from the budget, you passed the budget knowing you had this cost, and you kept it out. That's why I say you were deceitful to the residents, okay? And then, 60 days later, you adopt an emergency appropriation, you tack on $100,000, and you don't do it under your administration. You take a cowardly way, and you kick the can down the road into this year, so when we get sworn in as a new committee January 1st, on day one, we are charged with cleaning up your mess. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to clean it up. And I understand that since January 1, you have been generally hostile to everything that this committee is trying to do, and your conduct has been not always professional. That notwithstanding, we are committed to discharging our responsibilities. We are going to get this budget in line, and we are going to provide fiscal sanity to Greenwich Township. And I recognize that you are not necessarily committed to that. You have different views on things, and I understand that. We can have a difference of opinion on how we're going to attack this problem, but Tanya, I gotta tell you, you can try and politicize this, but I like to stick with the facts. And the facts are you had 5 months worth of ongoing litigation, you knew about it, and you didn't include it in the budget. That's a fact.
So let me respond. We budgeted $150,000 for legal fees, okay? We did not expect the litigation to go beyond $150,000, so there was no deceit whatsoever, as much as you would like to say that there was no deceit, okay? Now, the $300,000 gap that you're talking about in the sewer budget, you need to look to your left, to the person that is running for election this year, because if you want to start talking about politicizing things, the $500,000 in the Express Times is exactly what you're doing. You're blaming the past committee. Elaine was part of that committee. The fact that she voted no to paying bills throughout the whole year, I guess, is beside the point, but she was part of that committee. So almost $300,000 of this $500,000 that you're talking about, you need to look to your left. There's no deceit here. And as far as my behavior, you're the one that said we should be able to agree to disagree. So if we can't have these conversations here and you want to call my behavior unprofessional, call it what you may. But I am not going to sit here and be silent when things are taking place, when we are not achieving this campaign that you ran on, foster cooperation and respect. I'm not feeling very respected. And yes, my agenda item was taken off. I went back and forth with emails with you on the agenda item, so when it wasn't in the packet, what could I think? If the agenda, the reason it's on tonight is because it was revised and handed to it as we came in here.
Did you call me to ask me?
I sent you an email. I didn't get a response.
Did you call me?
Did you respond to my email?
Yeah, I did.
Did you get my email?
I responded to
You
it.
did not.
I did.
You did not.
Okay.
Now that's deceit. Come on, Joe. You didn't answer my email. I have the string of emails. So we can debate it all
Anything
night.
else?
I just want to go on record,
I have a
the express times, that there is no $500,000 gap.
Now, you know, you just acknowledged there's 200 and 300 on the sewer.
I'll make
What's
a
3 and
copy,
2?
I'll make a copy for David, he can take this with him
Make a
and
copy.
post it. I
That's
have-
good. The residents need to know.
They absolutely do.
They need to know.
They absolutely do.
I have a comment, and then I'd like to end this so we can move on. Excuse me? Excuse me?
What did you say?
I said, of course you would.
Yes, of course. When it comes to the treasurer and the cost associated with the treasurer, $37,000, and this was read into the record at the last meeting. I don't have the exact figures with me tonight because it was read into the record that day. The cost for medical benefits, 40% is about $5,300, and the cost for her pension is about $1,900. So we are talking about a $12,000 to $2,000 difference here. It's minuscule. But having said that, I just want that on the record. The second thing is the budget. Now, when you're talking about 2008, we were in the midst of a change from one CFO to another. And Tanya well knows that bills from 2007 were not paid and had to be paid in 2008. She also knows that she voted for that budget and the $200,000 borrowing from the sewer. So when you're talking about fiscal responsibility, we talked about discussion, we talked about this stuff. You have to go back to the voting record and you have to look. And the voting record clearly indicates it was a 5-0 vote, because we knew at that time, which is completely left out of the discussion here, is what happened when the CFO was relieved of his position. And as far as the rest of the budget goes, when the voting came to vote for this budget this past year, I didn't only vote to no to paying the bills, I voted no for the budget. Because I knew at that point in time, it was smoke and mirrors, and it was all about the fact that they did not want to go before the people to go and vote on something that exceeded the 2% cap that the governor put in place. That's it.
Okay, one more comment and then I'll let this go. Elaine, as far as, you're voting this, that, and the other thing, I just want to mention that when it got a little bit hot in the kitchen with the school budget, you resigned as the liaison to the school budget. We put you on the Recreation Commission and they asked that you be removed. So I just want to put that out there that,
You know what,
You
Tanya?
know what, wait, let me,
You're out of order now. No. We're sticking to the agenda items now. That's inappropriate. It's typical of what I've heard you say since January 1st. There's nothing that really, you
What's
state that deals
well,
with the
now
town.
that it is on the
No.
record, Joe, I have to answer that. As long as it's on the record, Joe, I have to answer that. You're absolutely right. I did resign from the school committee, and I've spoken to members of that board and have told them, yes, my husband served me with divorce papers that week. I had every right to resign from that committee because I could not give 100% of my attention to that committee and the budget and the need for that. And I had to step aside. And as far as anything else about the Recreation Committee, I'm sorry, but people have come to me later and have discussed with me that it wasn't an intentional kind of thing to resign from. I chose to actually not fight that resignation and not poll the board. I chose to actually not poll the board when people told me I should poll the board. I'm not going to go down that path.
Here's how we're handling this now. And shame on you, Committeewoman Siegel. Here's how we're doing it moving forward. You have an agenda item, you send it, it goes on the agenda. If it's not on the agenda, we're not gonna, you wanna make it at the
well,
end,
that
you make it
applies
at
to
the end.
every committee member.
That's correct. It
That's
applies
fine.
to every committee
That's
member
absolutely
because
fine with me.
I am not, while I preside at these meetings, as much as all you wanna do is campaign, we're gonna actually do the township business. That's what I promised and Tom promised the residents of Greenwich, and that's why we were elected by an overwhelming
Absolutely. And that's
majority.
what I'm asking
Because
you
they
to do.
watched you and your behavior the last year and had enough. And I am not going to allow you to continue and behave this year the way you have behaved.
Then
You
I
are
have-
a bully, you act like a bully, and it's going to stop, and it's
Okay.
not gonna
I
happen
have
on my
one more
watch.
thing to say. No, I have one more thing to say.
No, we're moving on.
Last year's committee,
We're moving
4
on.
out of the 5 worked
You're
well
out of
together.
order.
So
You're
I
out
was
of order.
supportive. So I want you to say, I want to say that.
I'll make a motion to take a break.
No,
No,
Mr. Finelli,
absolutely
Mr.
not.
Finelli,
No break needed.
Mr. Finelli, please continue.
In prior agendas, the attorney was always next. How did I get moved in front of him?
I don't know.
I bumped you, buddy.
Good segue.
Here's a plan we'll talk about briefly. This is very simple.
Thank you, Michael.
You're up.
Next time.
Next. Okay. Everybody got my report, again, as per usual, we'll just deal with the items we need to talk about. First item on the report is my item number 7, which is the Green Acres passive rec plan development. That is the plan I just handed out. We talked about this at the end of last year. We had submitted this application back in 2009. It was denied. Apparently there was X dollars, and there was like 100X dollars worth of applicants. So it is right on point, meets all the qualifications for the application, and it's only a grant for $25,000. I mean, we're just looking to construct a path which is required per Green Acres on the D'Angelo property. The map speaks for itself. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I've been coordinating with Dawn Marie on this. I sent it to her the other day. She sent back that it looked fine. So, the bottom line, the grant's approved. It's not due to be submitted until February 15th, but our next meeting is February 16th. So, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. We've got the grant application prepared. There's the plan, there's a cost estimate goes with it, a little narrative. I mean, it's only a $25,000 grant. And we've done this already. Dawn Marie and the Open Space have already looked at it and approved it. So the only action that I would need from you folks tonight would be a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the application form, and then for us to just continue to process it and get it submitted. And again, we have a month almost before the deadline. Any questions regarding the grant and the program? Or Dawn Marie, you wanna, anything to say?
No, open space is fully for this, and we hope that you approve the grant application, please.
I'd like to make a motion, motion to authorize Mike Finelli to move forward with the $25,000 grant.
And to the mayor to sign the application.
And the mayor to sign the
That's really the
application.
key.
Yes.
The other one's already done.
Okay, and the mayor to sign the application.
Second.
Comment? Roll call?
Perez,
Yes.
Siegel,
Yes.
Miliani,
Yes.
Solari,
Yes.
Toriello.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone, once we submit, we'll get a copy of the grant with all the backup paperwork and so forth. And like I said, it's a pretty straightforward, simple application. All right, moving to the end of my report. I see Gary in the audience. Number 15, just as an update, FEMA. Much going on, Gary? Or no, right? I mean, or yes?
Yeah, basically to bring the committee up to speed on that real quick, we keep losing our coordinator, our FEMA coordinator.
Yep.
They keep having family emergencies, they have to go to Nevada, California, Montana, wherever they're from, they have to leave. So I've been in touch with the county, the guy who's in charge of Sussex and Warren County, and since I work up there, I've been sneaking down and talking with him tidbits. We came out, we took pictures, he plotted everything for Ravine Road. that all looks great. We looked at the one infrastructure one that actually met was the Buford Lane, the sinkhole. That
Oh,
we
the
did.
sinkhole.
All the other sinkholes didn't count because it didn't affect the infrastructure. I think one other one was at Adams Drive and Gary Road, the storm drain that caved in. Because they keep losing a lot of people, we're going back. The deadlines got kind of schmoozed off a little bit. So now basically the only thing we're looking to do now is get the funding numbers for municipal employees. FEMA will reimburse FICA, Social Security, all that stuff. So I've been in touch with the police chief, John Howell, he's given me all those numbers. With who did what hours, we just gotta get it from the treasurer now as to what their exact payrolls were and that sort of thing. Other than that, I'm
Garrett,
hoping to just push it off on them.
Garrett, can I ask you, did they give you a deadline on that, as far as when you gotta have those numbers from us?
He didn't, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna make our own deadline, just so if something doesn't happen, we don't get, screwed. I would like to have everything done, by the middle of February 15th.
Okay, that should work. And the only other thing, I just wanted to ask the committee, I'm not sure if you guys are aware that I just found out yesterday, that Ravine Road, Powhatan Township has abandoned it. Were you guys aware of that?
Their section, they
Their
abandoned?
section, they abandoned it.
Are you, really?
I was told that yesterday, and,
They abandoned their section of the ravine all the way to our boundary line,
correct, and now,
and they didn't let us know, that's nice of them.
well, like I said, I just found this out yesterday, I was waiting for a clarification to make sure.
Hearing about it.
Yes, and the first I heard about it was yesterday, so I'm waiting for a clarification from their township. But I didn't know, and that's why I wanted to come tonight and see if any of you guys had heard or received anything from their township that they were planning on doing this. Nothing? Okay. Because that obviously leaves an issue with all those homes that are down there one way in and out if that road is
Mike,
abandoned.
do we have to go to NJDOT about that?
Well, I was gonna ask Brent a question,
You
because
can't
this is
just do
very
that.
interesting and a very peculiar action, if indeed they really did,
Right.
I'll use the word vacate versus abandon. This is a road that starts in Greenwich and goes into Powhatan. And it's a very rural road, to say the least, you probably never even been on it. And it's
So true.
next to the river. I guess my point is, can one township abandon their section of a road and not even notify the other township that the road goes into?
I've never heard of that situation.
How did you,
I found out about it through, boy,
in other words, how do we know that they
You
abandoned?
formally abandon a road,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
say, I hereby
Yeah,
abandon.
no,
You
yeah.
gotta pass an ordinance.
No, they-
Yeah, it's dual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out about it
It's all
through, I think it was one of their DPW workers, and I went to get clarification from their police chief to find out, you can't go through the road now. It's, when you get by the culvert, it's actually boulders that you can't get through in an SUV. And they said they were abandoning the road, they were not gonna repair it because of the washouts that continue. They, I guess, were dumping the stone and the fill, and it was becoming too expensive, so they were no longer gonna maintain that road. They have no homes on it. So they were just basically going to abandon that road. But like I said, I didn't get clarification, that's why I was asking if you guys received anything.
Obviously, no, but it seems,
And I would
right?
hope
Okay.
the DOT
I know
would
the
have
township
something to say.
engineer there, they would have had to have been involved, as I would be if we were gonna vacate a road here.
And there'd be an
Let
ordinance.
me get, yeah, right.
And
There'd be an
more-
Let me,
ordinance.
I mean, how about I get, it's a girl, her name is Gwen Stecker. I'll call Gwen tomorrow, now I'm really curious, in fact, I feel like
And
texting
then
her
you
right
won't
now,
be
to be honest
sleeping
with you.
tonight.
Actually, I'm
I know, I'm gonna text her.
Well, go ahead and
When
text
I'm
her.
done, I'm gonna
Don't
text her,
know.
whether she
Yeah.
responds or not, and we'll see, but, yeah, I'm dying of curiosity, that's
I'm
incredibly
expecting to hear from
fascinating.
Don Group because we borrowed some equipment from Powhatan to do our section of Ravine Road, and I need to get the specifics as to horsepower and whatnot, so hopefully I'll hear from him tomorrow as well, and we can almost,
Alright.
double it. Get it confirmed that way.
Okay, well, digress there, okay.
Thank you.
And the other thing, I know I've mentioned this, I'm sure Gary's mentioned it, to wrap up the FEMA matter, and, is that there is, the way the funding works, it's a 75-25, so if we got $100,000, use a nice round number, they're only giving us 75. So that means we obviously have to make up the difference. However, well, there's a lot of credits for time and equipment and so forth that go towards our match. So, this, FYI. This, Gary, Bill Gleaver from our office was really kind of working on this more so than I was. Do you need, or we're good from
No,
our?
I think,
You got it under
we've got,
control?
yeah.
Okay, done.
If I need, I mean, it's getting to the point now where the numbers, with the paperwork, I'll probably be calling you.
Okay, so, fine, as long as it's
Does
going
that get
forward.
charged against the OAM office account? If I have to call him for financial, for paperwork? I don't know, does it get charged against the OAM budget? Just curious.
You have a little bit of a budget. I mean, how much money are we talking?
Oh, I have no idea.
Probably
A lot of
would
people
still be
report like
generally
it's-
Is this regarding the FEMA?
Yeah.
So this is gonna get charged back to the FEMA reimbursement?
Well, that's true too, yes.
Yeah, it would be.
I would be a credit.
Yeah, so work
To the
with him, so it'll
township.
be a credit, so, yeah.
Gary, you're saying you have all the numbers from all the other departments but the police?
No, we're still working on those, but they're out there. I've gotten numbers from Tom, or excuse me, from John Howell. Joe Mexi has his on computer, he's just waiting to print it out to me. And we were kind of waiting for the new treasurer / CFO to come in, get comfortable, so she can start working on.
But in the meantime, you can go collect all that stuff from those guys to give it to her, so she can hit the ground.
She has the numbers, we just have to get the sheets.
Okay.
She has all the overtime, we just have to get the sheets back from her to coordinate and look at, because there's specific
Yeah,
days for
so-
Lee and all of that, and then add it up from there. All the other information is already completed, we're just waiting on the actual
That's what I mean.
overtime slips.
Okay. Item number 17 in my report is the South Main Street rumble strips. Dan, I actually talked to Frank Van Horn, the mayor of Knowlton, because that was where two of those locations were. He actually had a lot of nice things to say about it. But they're not in an area that's very populated. He says you definitely do not want to put them in front of a house. He opened up the doors to his township, as I suspected he would. He's like, everyone come up, give me a call, and so on and so forth. So, whatever, they're there. The mayor feels that they work very well. So I don't know where it stands. But I know I was supposed to follow up with Frank Van Horn. This is for.
I know about it, I've been,
Okay,
yeah, I've been following
the
it.
speed suppression on South Main Street? Okay, so I'll just do nothing, but if you want, obviously this is your baby, so to speak.
Well,
here, so-
what if you were able to strike a balance in terms of it can't be in the house, but there's a spot right at the bend before it comes around?
I was just gonna ask the chief that question. Would it behoove us to move it down, like towards, but it seems, you had the Littles down there, and you had, I don't know the name of the other family that lives right next to the Littles.
Oh, I forget.
There's only that one little spot where that farmland is, where the Home Dalamucci was supposed to go up in that area, that spot there.
Right past the school before the first
Right,
turn.
Exactly.
It would be in between those two homes. That might be the only spot that I could think of that may work. I don't know, what do you think, chief?
Yeah, no, I think that it's probably best to go up there and hear them, see how loud they
Well,
are, and
that's-
see what
yeah.
happens with them, but
Yeah.
that seems like it would be the best location, especially if they are noisy.
Yeah, 'cause you don't wanna put it in front of, that one house there, especially, he has his mother living in that back house.
Oh, yeah, that's the old,
Yeah, that,
not COA. It'll come to me. It's a four-letter acronym.
Echo unit,
ECHO, thank you. Not COA, ECHO. The ECHO unit, right.
right.
pulled that one out of the hat.
Very, very impressive, chief.
Snappy time.
So, I will do nothing more with this. I would think that we, you, chief, whoever, should go up and actually sit there and actually hear what these things are like. Because it sounds like wherever they go here, if they go here, will be closer to a residence than they are in Knowlton. But they work.
You know what we can do is, we can go over to that spot that we're talking about, take a measurement, going back to that first house, right next to the school, and then take a measurement going forward to the Little's house, and then go up there, up to Knowlton,
And compare the distances.
stand at that distance that we measure out, and then see how it sounds. If it sounds like they're right on top of it, then it's a no-go, but if it sounds like something that you're barely gonna hear, then it may be a doable thing.
But the problem is, I think,
Finding like the spot that you're discussing, what's the speed limit there? Is it 35 or 40?
Yeah, but that's where they come, they're on the move there.
So you're gonna put rumbles, in essence, you're changing the speed limit.
No,
No.
no. All it is, it's like when you get off the highway on an interstate.
I know it's
It's in essence, that's the same thing. You're gonna hear that sound in your tires, and it's basically grooves in a pavement. And or like striping, the thick striping that they put. It's not a speed hump or a speed bump. This is a much more subtle type of device that really just alerts you, and you also have to have like almost simultaneous recognition of a speed limit sign so that it catches your attention. That's how these things work. It's kind of an indirect reaction versus a direct reaction like a speed bump is. So, were we done with this? Okay.
Thanks.
Be sure, all right. An email item that I sent out, which isn't in my report, but, and this relates to the D'Angelo property again. This is the issue of the gas main. And the letter I received from, the engineer for the gas company. They're doing this, as we know, this fairly large regional main replacement. And as part of this main replacement, they have to replace the main that currently goes through the D'Angelo property. Because we are now the proud owners of the D'Angelo property, and there is an existing easement in the property, because there's an existing pipe there, they need us, the township, to send a letter to Green Acres, which is in essence a sort of a form letter, I'll call it, supporting the project and indicating that how the project's going to be conducted and the minimal impacts on the property and so on and so forth. I sent you all the stuff. I don't know if everybody's read it or so forth. The map included. The fellow, this Tim Edmonds guy, the guy that sent me the cover letter, he's probably getting a lot of pressure from his client, which is Lizard Town Gas, to move this project forward. I told him, well, I'm not gonna know anything till done. So, is there I mean, that's it in a nutshell. You know, he said that it's, eventually the line needs to be replaced. I wouldn't call it a public health and safety issue per se right now, but eventually the line's gotta get fixed and replaced. And the resources are in place, they're going forward as I've talked at prior meetings.
I just have a question, Mike, on this
Sure.
whole thing. I mean, I don't mind replacing a line in an existing easement that's currently there. But I do worry about the increase in the easement and the increase in the line. Is that what they're doing?
No.
Are they increasing the size of the line?
No,
Are they increasing the need for a larger easement?
no.
Just a repair and
It's
No.
just a repair and
There-
replace?
There's an 8-inch line in there now,
Uh-huh.
and they're putting in an 8-inch line.
Okay.
And
I
there
do-
is temporary easements that they will need to get in to do the work.
And Green Acres is aware of that, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
temporary
well,
easements.
Oh,
That's
Green
what
Acres
we
is
have
where
to-
it is, man, we
Yeah.
did the survey,
Right,
which
right,
showed these.
Right, because
Yeah.
Elaine's point is a good one. If you were to increase the easement, there's a whole diversion procedure that
Exactly.
Green Acres would have to go through.
Oh, yeah, we don't wanna do that.
No, absolutely.
No, we
Yeah,
don't
no
wanna
way.
do it, but they might think we're gonna do it if we vote to go ahead and allow this to happen. I just wanna make sure that
No.
we're clear on this is nothing about expansion.
No, absolutely not.
All right.
There's easements in place, those easements will remain in place, the pipe is gonna be the same diameter. There will be temporary construction easements and an access easement to get in and work, but they go when they're done.
And preliminary, and do they know the scope of the length of time this work is going to take?
Is there a project timeline or?
And are the residents that are up there, we need to notify them and all that
Well,
stuff? That's a whole nother story.
this, we might have to notify the bears.
I
mean,
know, and deer.
This is, there's gonna be a lot of people impacted
Right.
in this township.
Exactly.
Not this issue. That will happen at the earliest they think it will commence construction in the fall. This may not really start till 2013.
Okay.
this is, you know, like any big scale regional type project, it's gonna take a while. They're still in the
And the
design.
scope is not gonna change like after they got this authorization from us.
No, well, no, because for what this is worth, and I can't speak for Green Acres, I mean, you're dealing with probably one of the most conservative entities in the state as far as messing with their properties. So